Hi, today I have a few shot ideas for you that you can do with camera sliders like the Zeapon Micro 2 Plus here. It's a pretty compact small slider that you can easily bring on trips like that here. I would not use it for longer hikes still or longer trips in general, but for something shorter like we're doing today, that's great to enhance your travel videos because you can get camera motion without actually controlling the camera by yourself, so you can be in the shot. So I would say let's get some shots with it. Quite nice about this slider here, we have legs included. I want to get an establishing shot of where we are, like I want to show this nice forest part here, but I also want to have some motion and then I want to walk into the shot. Now I want to start this by sliding the slider here a bit behind the leaf so that I have the nice leaves here in the foreground. That's also my first tip here. Always use foreground objects that are close to your camera because that makes motion more visible. It's the same as when you shoot handheld. Now also important is that you set the focus to manual because I obviously don't want to focus on the leaf. I want to focus on the background. And so I set my focus now on the background by using this focus tracking quickly, and then I set it to manual focus. And then I'm sure that the leaves here in the foreground will never be in focus and it's well controlled. I set it to the lowest speed and then we can double tap on one of those arrows and then it moves automatically. Now that's definitely something that you can't do just by cropping in and animate it in post, because you can see the difference that the slider actually moves from behind the plant. You have this perspective there, this parallax effect, and that plays a role. So it looks a lot better if you do it with a slider like that. Okay, so now I want to show the top of the trees here. I actually did that shot before in the middle of the path, but we could barely see any camera motion from the slider because there was nothing really close to the camera. And I now bring it close to a tree because again, I want to have a foreground object to show more motion. That makes the shot more interesting. Now I also brought it a little bit closer to the tree by adjusting the legs a bit. I think that comes out even better. Let's try it. Yeah, that's it. That's how I wanted to have it. Took a few times to get the framing of the shot right and everything, but now I got it. Now with a shot like that here, it's definitely better to have a bit higher or bigger ball head, because as you can see, here's the limitation really of the camera motion, and it could be a little bit more if you have a bigger one, obviously, because then the camera would be a bit higher up. But yeah, just a little tip, bring that. I didn't bring it today. Okay, I found another good shot here, which is much harder to set up. As you can see here with a tripod, had to really adjust everything. But this shot is really nice because as you can see, we're really close to the branch here. And now when I slide it back, like new stuff gets in focus all the time. That's really nice to do with sliders, but the shot would actually be really hard to get straight out of your hands because straight out of your hands, you always get these micro jitters. And when you're close to objects, they are really present. And that's why it's better to use a slider here. So let's do that. I have to hold the tripod actually because it's that tight. Okay. Yeah, that looks nice. So here's now a nice place to get another shot of myself. I have a side sliding shot here, so I position the slider like that. Just have to make sure, like here's the middle of the slider. I want to have the middle of the slider a bit more centered towards the plants. Okay, got speed 3, got manual focus set up, all good, let's go. Oh. It's actually not a long hike today. We nearly reached our target destination already. So not that many shots, but I quickly want to get a shot of just my feet really close to the ground. So let's get that, and then I want to use another shot there when I arrive at the destination. In reality, of course, you would not only use a slider, you would mix it up with some shots that you shot straight out of your hand. That's a bit different then, but well, today we want to focus on the slider here. Now when getting a shot like that only of your foot, it's important to use a reference point to know where you should step to be in focus, because now I set the focus here manually on one specific part. I think it will be that leaf there, and then I know exactly that I have to step on that leaf in order to be in focus. doesn't look good. Want to get an upwards sliding shot now, but can't fit the camera really. We actually had a luck. I usually don't use my A7S III with a cage, but Daniel brought a cage for his A7 III, and without that cage we would not be able to mount it sidewise to the slider now, but now it works. So there's actually a good reason to use a cage even when you want to get some travel shots with a slider, even more to carry around, yeah. So this is our pre-hero shot here. The hero shot is further there, we'll do it after that. But I like this shot here. I really want to show me going up the stairs here to the temple to arrive at my final destination. And this is a shot that you could probably get by lifting the camera up, but you likely wouldn't have this range of motion without shaking, because these shots are super hard. You would usually probably use a gimbal for that to make it a bit easier. But here with a slider, when you're alone, it's actually a great way to do it. So let's get the shot now. Now here I want to get a shot of what I see, so that after I arrive here, the viewer can see what I see. I will do that here by using the plants as a foreground object and get a nice side sliding shot here, so something simple. So now here to frame the shot, I set the slider to the perfect middle, and then I line it up here in the middle with the statue, so that the middle part of my clip is perfectly in the center, and it starts like off axis to the left and then it moves to the right, because that's important. You always want to have your perfect framing like somewhere in the middle of the shot, and the slider actually makes it quite easy because you're able to see when it's in its center. Oh. Yeah, there we didn't line up the slider. So that would have been an issue definitely if I would have filmed myself. So if you film yourself, definitely try the full range of motion before you start the actual shot, so that you see if your slider actually stands still on a tripod or not. Otherwise you have to probably get the feet farther away from each other. So you definitely have to do something. But now if I wouldn't have been here, could have broken the sliders. I just want to get like 2 shots more or so to have a little bit more footage here with the slider. So I think that's quite nice here. We have foreground objects, we have the candles in the background. Just looking for a nice framing now. Now here again, I want the candle to come into the frame around in the center, but not perfectly, because there's also the tiger. So this is now the perfect center of the frame. I will quickly make a shot that I will blend in here. Now this is how the center of the frame looks. Now I reframed it. I set the slider a little bit more to the right and rotated it a little bit to the left, so that now the candle is in the perfect center here. And that also means that the tiger will come in the frame a bit quicker. Okay, now recording, and let's go. Hold the tripod again, because it will likely fall. Yeah, that looks beautiful. And another thing that sliders are good for are macro shots, and this is what I'm doing here now. I have my 28 to 75mm lens, and I put macro tubes from Viltrox in the back. So it's a 26mm macro tubes in between altogether now. And we have this nice close-up shot here, macro shot of that candle that I want to get. Let's set the focus here. It's always good to do manual focus. Now I've set it to the lowest speed setting actually, because when you do macro shots, even the lowest speed setting feels pretty fast already. And now I'm getting the shot here. It's actually great that the slider slides without my hand touching it, because otherwise that would probably cause jitters in the footage. And so if I do it like that here, we don't get any jitters. It's perfect. It's actually the same thing that I already mentioned before. When you're really close to objects, you usually get jitters straight out of your hand. That's why macro shots are generally better with a slider. I would say that you would not bring a slider like that on a general trip, like for your travel videos or general run and gun shooting. because it's just a bit too heavy, and you probably notice it takes a bit of time to set everything up and so on. But where I use sliders like that, and also the Moser slide pods a lot, is when I have scripted videos and I have shot lists, so that now I will spend some time at a certain location to shoot some sequences there for a video that I've planned before. And then it's nice to have such a slider because it helps to film myself. Even if I have Daniel with me to film me, it's great, because especially if we have a bit longer shots or so, he can't move the camera for such a long time without any shake, and then having a slider is definitely better. So that's why I can really recommend sliders when you plan your videos, when you have shot lists and you want to have some smooth motion in there. So if you want to learn more about travel filmmaking, then I would recommend you to watch this video here. There I explain you a lot of stuff. Aside from that, consider subscribing for more videos, and I hope to see you in the next one.